Coming up, Tzu Chi disaster relief and medical team in Nepal hold a second distribution in Saudol for quake survivors. And TIMA members from the Northern Taiwan and Eastern Taiwan chapters hold free clinics in their respective region. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. The Tzu Chi disaster relief and medical team in Nepal distributed relief supplies to 250 households in Saudol on May 20th. One teacher invited 100 local residents to join the volunteers. While at the distribution site, people of different nationalities worked side by side to accomplish this mission.
Yes! Namaste! We are Nepali volunteers! Jai Nepal!
In the Buddha's birthplace, Tzu Chi volunteers from different countries have come together to help Nepal.
Namaste! Namaste! Namaste!
In their uniforms, the volunteers are blue and white clad angels.
Namaste! 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 Namaste!
Namaste! Carrying relief items on behalf of quake victims, several local volunteers are here thanks to teacher Ravindra's invitation.
He told to me for the coming, for giving to the volunteer, and you say to your guys, your friends, neighbors, and I told to our neighbors and my friend, and he will come and help to this distribution program.
With the assistance of more than 100 local volunteers, 250 families receive much-needed aid.
Go home, happy, go home.
Love is the language spoken here, as volunteers from Taiwan work with the Nepalese to help Saudol.
I feel like we knew each other 2,500 years ago. Meeting them is like seeing our own family.
We are just like a friend, just because their face are also same, no? We are feeling, and you are happy, dancing, musicking, so good.
With one heart, Tzu Chi volunteers, together with locals, have brought hope to Saudol.
We all are pseudo volunteers.
In July of 1993, Nepal experienced a devastating flood, which claimed the lives of more than 1,000 people and left some 400,000 people without homes. In 1995, Tzu Chi successfully completed the building of 1,800 homes south of Kathmandu. Following the two recent strong tremors, Tzu Chi's disaster relief and medical team decided to pay former flood victims a visit to see how they are doing. On May 19th, the team arrived at the second Great Love village in Tzu Chi Pakari.
Here in Tzu Chi Pakari, Salahi district, 500 houses erected by Tzu Chi stand in an open stretch of land. 20 years have gone by and this village has now become part of the landscape.
Are the houses here at the Great Love Village in Tzu Chi Pakari all identical? Not necessarily. Take a look at this one. If it was a piece of art, I'd give it a perfect score.
There is a story behind this blue house.
This is the house Tzu Chi built for me. This part here is an extension I built.
Making a living as an auto body painter, Magar has been able to provide for his wife and 5 children. After all these years, 32-year-old Magar finally has the answer she has been looking for.
We managed to stay safe during the flood 22 years ago. I would like to find out who built these homes for us. I want to meet the person and tell them that we made it through these recent tremors safe and sound.
Every day you can see her.
20 years ago, Magar was only 12. Finally meeting the organization that provided her with a home moved her to tears. Carefully holding a picture of Master Zhenyan in her hands, Maga has an idea where she will place it.
Namaste. Namaste.
Although this is not the same group of volunteers that first set foot in this village 20 years ago, 85-year-old Lop Chan, who is the eldest in the village, still has memories of the angels in blue and white.
Okay.
A boy ran over and asked us where we are from. When we told him Taiwan, he replied, "How is this possible? This is Taiwan village." As it turns out, residents gave the Sukapokari Great Love village a second name, Taiwan village.
Broken. Logo.
What is this?
Although the memorial plaque is already worn and damaged, the love that remains is whole and intact.
There are approximately 400 families living at the Padam Pakari Great Love Village in Makwanpur, Nepal. Growing up in the village, some residents have made a name for themselves, while others are still struggling to live the dream. Here in Nepal, 18-year-old Jubi Gurun is playing with his homemade robotic car controlled by a remote. Jubi put together this invention all by himself in just 3 days.
I buy some parts from Bazaar market, and I get some parts from my homes here and thither. And I buy these items from electronic shop from our market. And as I'm doing job of plumber, and so I bring from my job these ones.
Spending much of his time building robotics, Jubi is often home alone as his parents work away from home. Working part-time as a plumber, Jubi's idol is Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, and he hopes to become an engineer someday.
I want to go KTM because in KTM Kathmandu there has established now robotics engineering college. I want to study there if I get opportunities, and yeah, if I get opportunity, I want to go there and study and make my dream possible.
31-year-old Rapesh is a success story that Jubi can look up to, as he is among the few residents of the Great Love Village that has earned a college degree. The walls of Rapesh's house are filled with awards and certificates.
I work at a radio station as a manager. I've worked in radio for over 11 years. I started at the bottom and worked my way up. I've worked at other stations before in different places, before I reached where I am today.
20 years ago, when the family first moved to the Great Love Village, Rapesh's parents struggled to give the children a good education and get them to fit in.
When we first moved here, we had nothing. The locals didn't welcome us because we were new. It was difficult living here.
My mother has been very supportive of me from the beginning. When I was young, she would take on hard labor that didn't make much money, but she did so because she wanted to provide us with an education. She said, "No matter how poor we are, you children still need to go to school." She is a very good mother to us all.
My children take care of me very well. They are very sweet and make sure I am well taken care of. I am touched that they've grown up so nicely.
As fellow residents of the Great Love Village, Jubi and Rapesh encourage others like them to never give up on their dreams. Tzu Chi's 4th disaster relief and medical team is wrapping up their final days in Nepal. Having already spent 7 days conducting free clinics in Chittapol, team members have managed to pick up some Nepalese and are ready to give us a listen. Having spent 7 days in Nepal, Tzu Chi's 4th disaster relief and medical team conducting free clinics in Chittapol has managed to pick up some Nepalese.
Sababihani is good morning. Once a day is Riku Asuri. Twice a day is Riku Risuri. Then Riku Dinsuri and Riku Chasuri, and so forth. To vomit is Banda, and thank you is Dani Abba.
If translators are not here when residents want to pick up their medication, there is no need to panic.
This is our secret tool. This is our Cliff's Note, our cheat sheet.
On the final day of the free clinic, a familiar face shows up.
This young man was cut by a zinc sheet and patched up by Dr. Ye Tianhao back in Baghdadpur.
The young man is now feeling much better thanks to Tzu Chi's tender care.
Because of you, I feel comfortable. Thank you.
Some areas discouraged.
Through giving of themselves, members of Tzu Chi's 4th Disaster Relief and Medical Team have gained much more in return. And carrying this gift in their heart, they say goodbye and get ready to head home. The CPC Anshin factory was first built by the Japanese back in 1942 to produce alkali chlorine. After the end of the Second World War, with the arrival of the KMT and the formation of CPC, the factory also began to produce pentachlorophenol in 1969. Unfortunately, people at the time weren't fully aware of the serious environmental impact and harm to human health that the factory was causing as they leaked dioxins and mercury into the surrounding area. Though the factory has long been shut down, cleaning up the contamination has only just begun and is already costing taxpayers a fortune.
Pretty much all land used by the petrochemical industry in Taiwan will end up with the ground and groundwater pollution. But what happened here in Tainan's Anshin is way worse than that.
The contamination here has reached deep into the ground. Some areas might be 22 centimeters deep, but other areas can be up to 2 meters or even deeper.
Due to the high concentration of pollutants remaining at the site, all who enter here must wear protective masks and all soils must be treated on site. For those that cannot be treated, encasing them in a concrete sarcophagus is the only option.
The soil at the site of the pentachlorophenol plant contains both dioxins and pure pentachlorophenol, which is why there's a foul odor. That's why we have to use stone coffins.
For the areas of the factory that are only moderately to mildly contaminated, they are either covered by black impermeable tarpaulins or the soil from the areas is excavated and sealed in hazmat bulk bags.
In the very beginning, we had no idea about the extent of pollution.
Just how bad is the pollution here? The factory was 37.1 hectares in size. Both the PCP and alkali chlorine plants and seawater pool B that held the plant's wastewater are considered hot zones. Dioxins detected here go as high as 64.1 million nanograms per 1 kilo of soil, while mercury is as high as 3,370 micrograms per 1 kilo of soil. In total, over 350,000 cubic meters worth of soil was contaminated, which weighs about 571,000 tons. In the past 5 years, $64.5 million had been invested, and only 100,000 tons of contaminated soil has been processed so far. At least 10 more years are needed to treat the whole area.
If the concentration level of dioxins is below 5,000 nanograms, and for mercury lower than 200 micrograms, we treat the soil by washing it.
The site is being monitored at all times as the mercury within the soil might evaporate with high temperatures.
Only soil with a mercury concentration less than 200 micrograms can be washed, and we will verify whether or not the washed soil measures up.
Washed soil will then be compressed into slabs and sent to a rotating furnace. Hopefully, this will remove the dioxins and mercury remaining in the soil.
This here is our rotating furnace. It took us 3 years and just about $10 million to build this, so we can deal with the dioxins in the soil.
The rotating furnace was designed and built to deal with multiple pollutants and will be coming online soon. However, the remediation project is already costing taxpayers a fortune. Meanwhile, the EPA has to think about how the land can be used in the future.
The reuse and revitalization of brownfields can be an excellent tool. By taking the necessary precautionary measures and taking the possible risks into consideration, a brownfield can be reused.
However, it seems currently the Taiwan government lacks proper laws to govern pollution remediation and reuse of brownfields. As the 6-year ban placed on the fishery surrounding the Anshan factory was lifted last June, it seems no one is making sure the water is actually pollutant-free. How can residents then be sure of the safety of the brownfield, regardless of whether it is turned into a park or a nature preserve?
Just how can this land be reused? The government says the land is fine if the oxygen concentration is less than 1,000 nanograms, but the pollutants are still there.
Though brownfields have been put to use again abroad, in Taiwan, without adequate regulations in place, citizens just cannot rest easy. Also, no one can know for sure if the remediation at the Anshan factory can really restore the area. That is an answer that only time can provide.
TIMA Northern Taiwan chapter recently held their regular free clinic in Gonglao district of New Taipei City. Meanwhile, TIMA Eastern Taiwan chapter held a free clinic and paid home visitations in Changbin Township, Taidong County.
One Tzu Chi volunteer supported a 102-year-old senior who walked into the free clinic venue slowly. Nearly 100 medical personnel and volunteers help out at the free clinic held in Changbin Township. TIMA members provided internal medicine, orthopedic, ophthalmology, and Chinese medicine services here. One grandma came to seek treatment for her leg pain.
She is lucky because we brought hyaluronic acid. With one shot, she should feel better for a period of time.
Tzu Chi volunteers also joined TIMA members as they paid home visitations to patients who live far away.
Volunteers come visit very often, so I'm quite happy. They help me a lot.
Medical students from Tzu Chi University also volunteer at the free clinic and learn to cherish their blessings.
I learned to seize the moment and do what we should do, because in the future we may not be able to do what we are doing today.
The university teacher and medical students share their experiences after the clinic.
I learned much watching how each doctor treated patients. The doctors also told us a lot, including what the correct mindset of a doctor should be.
I shared with them everything I know, passing on experience. I told them that they will be my doctors in the future, so I must teach them well now.
Besides passing on practical experience, the doctors also teach the students to put their love into action in caring for the needy. Turning to Gongliao district, as the majority of young people have moved out, most young people here are either tourists or foreign laborers. At a home visitation, a nurse led a nearly 90-year-old senior to do exercises.
Elderly people should be aware of falling. If you exercise and have good balance, you will not fall easily.
Having taken part in free clinics for years, Dai Sulan knows the seniors here. Pharmacist Xie Yulong is also experienced, and he reminds the seniors to take medication correctly.
Some people here have irregular blood pressure. It means they take the medication sometimes, so we have to teach them.
A regular free clinic was held at Gongliao Elementary School, where senior dentists pass on their experience to the young people.
Doing meaningful deeds with our time helps the patients as well as ourselves.
As the senior TIMA members pass on their experience, TIMA has become more organized and efficient in providing medical services to people in remote areas.
Returning to Nepal, we get to know two members of the 4th Tzu Chi Disaster Relief and Medical Team, Dr. Chen Jinchen and Huang Junqing.
At a medical station in Bhaktapur City, an old woman lets a doctor examine her injured hand.
起初是有一些脓，可是现在已经很好了，已经干了哈，比较好了哈。OK。
facing earthquake victims with different injuries. Dr.黄俊卿, who specializes in emergency care, dresses each wound with the utmost care.
医师为什么要这样子用？固定它长得比较快。
Joining an international disaster relief mission for the first time, Huang treats each patient as a parent with their child.
Today also a child has been come. He was crying a lot, but he handled it so quietly and so impressively. So I am very happy to work with him.
Providing efficient emergency care, Huang also soothes his patients' hearts with his calm demeanor and dedication. Another dedicated doctor examined a girl's injured toe. Deputy Superintendent陈金城looks serious because he's focused during work. He also smiles to calm the patients.
Our presence here should ease their feeling of loneliness, and our companionship can help get them to relax.
Chen also shared his recent experiences on Kathmandu radio station, further spreading Tzu Chi's stories of love in Nepal.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Next, we meet Dr. Li晓卿from Malaysia, who has put many of her patients at ease during the free clinics in Chittapal, Nepal.
1, 2, 3. Before the free clinic begins, games are played first.
1, 2, 3, 4. And we get together, together, together. The more we get together, the happier we'll be.
In Chittapal, Dr. Li晓卿of Malaysia plays a game of hopscotch with the children.
The children here are very happy and outgoing. They aren't afraid of strangers. I've heard that Nepalese children are like that.
Okay, good.
But during the 3-day clinic, she notices that some children have lost their smiles.
This area is missing children's laughter and rambunctiousness. I think the earthquakes might have affected them.
Dr. Li's body language conveys to her patients how to take care of their health.
Wash hand. Always wash hand. Don't go and do.
Dr. Li knows how much needles can hurt at times.
Sorry,
People feeling very nice, very good, very happy.
This is the first time Dr. Li has joined a Tzu Chi international relief mission, and through the experience has formed many lasting memories of the times between her and her patients.
To help quake survivors in Nepal, Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia hit the market to canvass for donations. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.